Why do we keep fighting battles that aren't ours? Today, I'm speaking some hard truths, truths that might sting, but they need to be heard. It's time we stop being the go-to soldiers for everyone else's causes while neglecting our own. This isn't about being heartless, it's about prioritizing our people first. If that bothers you, then you need to hear this. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Bite-Sized Blackness, where we break down the big ideas shaping the Black community into bite-sized, easily digestible pieces. In today's video, we're tackling a topic that's been heavy on my heart, especially as I watch Black Americans tirelessly advocate for causes that, frankly, aren't ours to bear. We're out here fighting, protesting, boycotting, and speaking up for everyone else, while our own community continues to struggle. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a firm believer in peace and justice. I don't want to see violence. I don't want to see innocent lives lost, especially children. But when it comes to where we put our energy and our resources, it's time to start saying, not my people, not my problem. Because history has shown us over and over again that when we fight for others, we rarely, if ever, get the same support in return. Today, I'm going to break down why it's crucial for Black Americans to focus on our own community, here in the US and globally. We're going to look at the history of our misplaced loyalty, the importance of keeping our focus, and why it's time to put ourselves first. Let's start with a history lesson, one that many of us know all too well. For generations, Black Americans have been on the front lines for everybody else's movements: civil rights, LGBT plus rights, immigrant rights, environmental justice. You name it, we've been there. We've marched, we've protested, and we've risked our lives. And what do we get in return? Most times, a whole lot of nothing. Think about it. During the civil rights movement, we weren't just fighting for ourselves. We were setting the stage for other marginalized groups to gain rights in America. We laid the groundwork for other movements to flourish, using our strategies, our voices, and our pain. But after these groups got what they wanted, many turned their backs on us. They began advocating solely for their own communities, aligning with white supremacy when it served them, and leaving us in the dust. Look at the Asian American and Pacific Islander AAPI community, for example. Black folks showed up for Stop Asian Hate, raising our voices against the violence they were facing. But where was the AAPI community when Black folks were in the streets for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and countless others? Where were they when we needed them to speak up against police brutality? Nowhere to be found, or worse, aligning with the very forces that oppress us. And let's not forget about the alliances with white supremacy that other groups have historically formed to secure their own power while undermining ours. This isn't about dividing communities. It's about acknowledging a pattern. It's about understanding that we have always been the first to show up and the last to benefit. This is why I've taken the stance. Not my people, not my problem. It's not about being cold-hearted, it's about being strategic. My time, my energy, and my resources are going to my community first and foremost. We have too much work to do for Black Americans right here. We're still fighting for basic human rights, economic equality, and safety in our own neighborhoods. And it's not just about us in the US, it's about Black people globally. Let's talk about Africa for a second. We've got conflicts in the Congo where people are being exploited for resources like cobalt, which powers the very technology we use every day. There's a humanitarian crisis in Sudan with Black people being displaced, tortured, and killed. Haiti is facing political unrest, poverty, and the lingering effects of colonial exploitation. Yet we barely see these stories on mainstream media. Where are the protests for them? Where's the outcry? When Black people suffer, the world turns a blind eye. But when other groups need support, we're expected to show up and show out. We need to flip that narrative and make sure our energy is spent uplifting our own people. whether it's advocating for better schools, supporting black businesses, or speaking out against injustice that directly affects us. And this isn't just about history, it's about what's happening right now. Look at the recent conflict between Israel and Palestine. Both sides have been reaching out, wanting black Americans to lend our voices to their cause. But here's the kicker. Some of the same people who are asking for our help have been openly anti-black. We've seen it on social media, with Palestinian influencers making anti-black comments, and Israeli officials aligning with anti-black policies in the US. Some of our own young people are waking up to this reality. They're seeing firsthand how these other groups feel about us when the tables are turned. TikTok is flooded with videos of Palestinian supporters being openly anti-black, yet still expecting black Americans to advocate for their freedom. It's a harsh wake-up call, but one that's long overdue. This is why I say, never again. Never again will I let anyone convince me to put my community second. We've spent too long being everyone's foot soldiers, carrying the weight of every movement on our backs while others reap the benefits and forget about us the moment they're in a better position. I refuse to be guilted into advocating for people who won't even acknowledge our humanity. So what's the answer? It's simple. We stay focused on us. We protest for Black lives. We use our voices to amplify our issues. If we're going to be out in the streets, let it be for our people. If we're speaking out, let it be for the Congo, for Sudan, for Nigeria, for Haiti, anywhere Black lives are under threat. We have too many of our own battles to be fighting someone else's war. We're still dealing with police brutality, mass incarceration, economic inequality, and systemic racism. We have the highest maternal mortality rates. We face discrimination in healthcare, and we are underrepresented in politics and business. Our schools are underfunded, our neighborhoods are over-policed, and our history is erased from the textbooks. That's where our energy needs to go. And let's not forget, when we fight, we do so without the resources others have. Other communities have their own news outlets, powerful allies, and financial support to back them. Black Americans, on the other hand, are often scraping together what little we have to make a difference. So why would we divert our scarce resources to support those who won't do the same for us? So, here's my message to anyone asking us to step into their fight. We hope for peace, we hope for justice, but our focus is on our people, and that's where it will stay. Our ancestors didn't fight for us to be everyone else's saviors. They fought so that we could be free. So if we're going to stand for something, let it be for ourselves. I want you all to take this message to heart. Share this video, start the conversation, and don't be afraid to put our community first. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about how we can continue to uplift Black America and the global Black community. Because if we don't fight for us, who will? Thank you for tuning in, and as always, stay in your Black business. We've got work to do.